been kind of one of your favorite deals, right? How's it feel?
Yeah, I love it. No, I could do this every Tuesday for the rest of my life. I love it. You know, I feel like, you know, a couple of the fights tonight, you know, I don't know what these guys were thinking. You know, if you want to come in and you want to get the contract and get in the UFC, man, you better bring your killer instinct with you, and you better come to fight. You know, the first fight, you could tell that kid had talent, but if he fought as much as he ran his mouth and goofed off, he'd be a talented guy. You know, I'm not looking for that. You're not in the UFC. What do you think? You're Anderson Silva and you're on your 10th title defense or something? You know what I mean? It's like that was crazy.
I was going to say, I mean, what kind of advice would you give to a fighter? Because it seemed like he was just trying to put on a show.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. That's my advice. And then he starts talking to me like he just fought the greatest fight of his life, and, you know, I didn't want to tear the kid apart in front of the whole crowd, and I'm sure his family's there too. But, yeah, that's what you don't do if you want to get into the UFC. You could tell the kid had a ton of talent, but, yeah, he came with the whole wrong attitude. And see the last fight? That's the attitude you should have when you come here.
So give us an idea. You picked Alonzo Menifield for a contract. He had been here before, didn't get it the first time around. So, I mean, when you're looking at a guy the second time, are you looking at him different? How do you make the call to do it tonight?
Well, obviously we liked him the first time, but he didn't have enough experience. He went out and got more fights, undefeated still, and I think all first-round knockouts in those fights. So, and then he came in here and did it again in front of everybody. So that's a no-brainer. That kid has the right attitude, the right fight style. He's explosive. He's athletic. He's the type of kid I like. You're going for the finishes. I like people that try to finish.
And you give Greg Hardy, we were watching on social media, so we didn't get to see it exactly, but it sounds like kind of a develomental deal for Greg. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, if you see him, you see that he has power. He's a big heavyweight. He needs to work more. I mean, he needs to get some more fights. You know, we've done deals where, for example, Cyborg was under contract with the UFC but fought in Invicta. You know, Alexa Grasso was under contract with the UFC. Mackenzie Dern was under contract with the UFC and fought in other places. So I have a few ideas of what to do with this guy and let him develop. And, you know, he's with a great team already. He's training with great guys. They say he's a hard worker. You know, they say all positive things about him out of that gym. So, you know, we'll try to build him up and see what he can do.
When guys are on deals like that, are you involved in the matchmaking for him, even though it's taking place in other promotions?
Yeah, definitely. And the way I see it is what I'd love to do in a perfect world. This is not what I'm doing, but in a perfect world, this is what I'd like to do. If he can turn around and come back, I'd like to have him fight on the last episode of the Contender Series. Then I'd like to put him on a bunch of looking for a fight cards, you know, and get him some experience, and then we'll decide when we think he's ready for the UFC.
And we talked about it a little bit the other night, but, you know, with him being under UFC contract now, his past gets brought up every time, right, what he went through. I mean, how do you deal with that? Because what people are saying is, you know, how do you apply it equally to people? You know, you've said in the past, we don't put up for that. You touch a woman, never. You know what I mean? So How do you apply the policy consistently, and how do you justify having him under deal?
You know, we've had lots of different situations here. The reality is, if this guy stays clean for the next 10 years, goes on to win a world title, becomes one of the greatest mixed martial artists to ever live, he's always going to be looked at. He's always going to hear it. That's always going to be in the story that's written about him. Other opponents he fights are going to call him, a woman beater, and that's going to follow him for the rest of his life. You don't shake that. That stays with you forever, you know. And he's done all the things right so far. You know, the guy paid his dues. He hit rock bottom. He built himself back up, and you know, the guy's out there trying to make a life and a living.
Dana, knowing what you just said, that will follow him around, it'll now be associated with, I guess, your brand. You know, so is there any concern, I guess, over that?
I mean, it's gonna happen anyway. I mean, we've had situations with other guys. People make mistakes. People always make mistakes, and the thing about making mistakes is, how do you recover from that? How do you act after you've done something bad? This guy has paid his dues, and like I said, he hit rock bottom. He built himself back up. He's got out there and you know, he's fighting in these amateur fights where he doesn't get paid. Now he came here, and I think he made 10-10, and he's working his way back up the ladder. He's doing the right thing. He's off drugs. He's off alcohol, and he's trying to change his life. You know, you can point the finger at a guy all you want, but you can't look down at a guy for trying to turn his life around and trying to be a better person. And I believe that's what he's doing. And obviously, he's the type of athlete and the type of guy that if he does anything wrong, there will be no mercy for him. I mean, everybody's gonna jump on him. But as far as you talk to the people in his camp, they love the guy. Men and women, they think he's a great guy and a guy who was probably doing drugs, drinking, and made a big mistake.
How did your paths come together, yours and Greg Hardy's, and what was your initial reaction?
Well, when we started getting this season together for looking for a fight, no, that's not the show. When we got this season together for Dana White's Contender Series, do me a favor too, when you guys write about this, call it Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, because the Contender is coming back. Okay, so we might have a problem if you guys just throw down the Contender or the UFC's. Please write the full name out when you write stories about it, please, to save me one more headache in my crazy ass world. How did this happen? Yeah, so when we were putting this season together for Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, they approached us, and he had 3 amateur fights, and he wanted to fight here. So we sat down, we debated it, we made some calls, we did a little bit of homework, and then we decided to do it and give him a shot.
Did you meet him in person first? And
No,
test him out?
Meeting him wasn't as important to me as talking to the people who were around him every day, people who didn't know him, and people who started to train with him at the gym, and that was really what I was looking for. And I got nothing but rave reviews about the guy. So from men, women, the coaches, Dan Lambert, everybody.
No Snoop this year?
No Snoop this year, yeah. Our schedules didn't line up this year with Snoop's. Snoop's a busy dude. I mean, he's got a game show, a talk show, he's got a lot of stuff going on. Yeah.
So maybe in the future you could work.
Yeah, he was great. No, Snoop was awesome. And I think people really love Snoopcast too. It was fun. And unfortunately, it put Faber out of a job, too. Poor Faber.
So how important was the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series?
Thank you, sir.
into moving away from The Ultimate Fighter and basically, I guess, using this as the concept?
It's not that we're moving away from The Ultimate Fighter. It's just that this was different. This was an idea that I had that I wanted to try out and see how it would work. So we did it. We did a pilot, and it worked. It's just like looking for a fight. I came up with looking for a fight. We did the pilot. It was a huge hit, and we went with it. I'm gonna roll with these two for a little while, and then we'll come up with something different.
Can you just talk a little bit about the Contender Series, the Dana White Contender Series for Brazil? Because we are trying to get the idea that we're broadcasting this one as well. So I just want to.
Yeah. No. So. The response from the first season was really well received from the media, the fans, and the networks. So Globo wanted a version for Brazil, and we loved it. So it's perfect. So yeah, we're excited. We're gonna do that one this season too.
Is that a way as well to bring new faces for the MMA scene in Brazil?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, Brazil has always been very healthy when it comes to talent and stars and world champions, and that's not going to change. It's going to continue, and especially with a show like this, if you're a Brazilian fighter and you're going to fight on Globo, yeah, it's a big deal.
With CM Punk just fighting, and the second fight wasn't really what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Do you wish you would have the Contender Series in place at that time to maybe bring him through the same way as Greg Hardy?
I don't know. I don't know if Punk was ready for that, but yeah, the thing was, CM Punk would come to the fights, and he was such a huge fan, and he wanted to try this. I gave the guy a shot. It's different. I've never done really anything like that except for Brock Lesnar. And it worked out with Brock. It didn't work out with Punk.
Do you regret it? Or
No, he's a nice guy. I regret putting Michael Jackson in there. I will not call him Mike Jackson, okay? He's Michael Jackson. I regret that. That I regret.
Do you know if Punk agrees with you? You said he should call it a career. Have you talked to him?
I have not talked to him. I'm hoping.